Okay, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tell you some really unsettling stories, real-life accounts. We're looking at a collection of user submissions, stories that were recounted over on the YouTube channel, Mr. Nightmare. And we've picked three distinct stories, and they're all connected, oddly enough, by something pretty everyday, using Snapchat. What's really chilling about these is they're told by the people who lived through them, and you really feel how this technology stuff we use constantly kind of blurred the lines, between just chatting online and, actual real-world danger. So we want to share these accounts, understand how something like Snapchat played a role in these scary situations.
Right, and it's interesting looking at this source because it's all personal stories, very raw. Our task here is kind of looking at these separate, really quite frightening narratives and seeing what they tell us together about, technology, privacy, safety, without losing that personal impact.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's start with the first one. This one apparently happened back in the summer of 2015. It involves a 14-year-old user and their best friend, who we'll call Ben. They're just normal teenagers, right?
Yeah.
Using Snapchat constantly, always on each other's best friends list, that kind of thing. But then things got weird. Ben just went silent on the app. The user was sending him snaps, could see they were being opened, sending texts, seeing the read notification pop up, but zero response, which was, totally unlike Ben.
And they pretty quickly figured out why, didn't they? Ben's phone was gone. He'd lost it, which immediately puts a different spin on things. Someone else has the phone, but they're still, opening snaps, reading messages.
Exactly. The user pieced it together. Whoever had the phone was interacting with Ben's accounts. Ben confirmed it himself. Yeah, phone's missing. He was, understandably, pretty freaked out. The user even tried texting the number, maybe hoping to get the phone back somehow. But again, just read receipts. Silence. Then the Snapchat arrived from Ben's account. User opens it up, and it's definitely not Ben. It's a picture of this, described as a really weird-looking guy with a huge smile, just staring. And the caption simply said, "Coming over."
Wow, okay. That's a turn. It's not just someone finding a phone anymore, is it? They're actively using the social media on it and using Snapchat, which is usually so casual, to send a really direct personal threat. It shows how quickly a lost phone can become something much scarier than just lost data.
Instantly terrifying. Went from lost phone to, oh my god. The user immediately calls Ben back, totally panicked, asking, are our addresses on that phone anywhere? And Ben's like, yeah, they are. So that night, the user wakes up in the middle of the night, maybe 3 a.m., feels weird. The room is hot, even though the AC is on, that kind of feeling like something's off. Sees a light flash outside the window, then another, turns to look, and the window's open. And there's someone halfway inside the room, holding a camera.
Oh man, the progression there is just awful. Digital intrusion first, using the stolen account, then using info from the phone to send that specific threat. And then it culminates in actual physical invasion.
You heard.
The app literally delivered the warning for the terror that followed.
And the absolute worst part, the user screamed, and in that moment, recognized the man climbing in. It was the same guy, the guy from the Snapchat photo. He apparently struggled for a bit, but managed to scramble back out and run off just before the parents arrived. Police were called, obviously, and they actually managed to track the phone signal. Found the guy about 2 miles away, arrested him, so Ben got his phone back, thankfully. And the user, at least got the peace of mind knowing the guy was caught.
It's such a stark example. Snapchat's meant to be ephemeral, pictures disappear, but all the other information connected to the phone or the account itself, contacts, maybe locations saved in notes, linked apps, that stuff doesn't disappear. And if someone gets access to the device, that information can become a pathway to real-world harm. It really highlights that vulnerability.
Well, absolutely terrifying. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. The second story is different. This one involves a younger user, just 13 years old. They were talking to a girl they liked on Snapchat, pretty standard kid stuff, sending selfies back and forth, messaging. So one night, the girl sends a snap, just a picture of herself in bed, like a goodnight selfie or something. It seems totally normal. But the user notices something, way in the background, kind of blurry, what looks like a dark outline of a person standing by her window.
And this is interesting because it's not about a hacked account or an obvious threat being sent. It's about a detail. Something hidden, almost, in plain sight in a totally casual photo. The user just happened to have a really sharp eye. That was the key thing here.
It really was. The user felt uneasy, quickly messaged her, like, is that your brother or something? And she sends another snap back. Looks identical, same picture. But the caption is just, what do you mean? And this time, the figure is closer. Close enough that the user could see a hand pressed up against the glass. Seeing that, the user just knew. Something was seriously wrong, didn't even let the snap timer run out, closed it immediately, and just fired off a message, super urgent. There's somebody at your window, turn around.
Wow, that quick thinking. Using the messaging right after seeing the image.
Yeah.
That could have made all the difference. It shows how the platform, even though it's often about quick visuals, could, in that moment, be used for a critical warning.
So the girl opens the user's snap immediately, and then just silence. Nothing more on Snapchat. The user starts getting really worried. Tried texting her phone, calling, over and over, no answer. Hours go by just imagining the worst. Finally, around midnight, a text comes through from her. She explained everything. Said as soon as she read the user's message and turned around, she saw him. A man, maybe in his 20s, right there at the window. She screamed. And when she screamed, he actually opened the window and jumped into her room. She just bolted, ran straight to her parents' room, woke up her dad. But by the time her dad got to her bedroom, the guy was gone. Just the open window left behind.
Chilling. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How many times could something like that be missed? Just a detail in the background of a quick photo? The user's observation and then acting on it so fast was literally the only thing that alerted her. It highlights how crucial those seemingly small details in shared images can sometimes be.
Yeah. Definitely makes you want to pay more attention to the backgrounds now. Okay, let's move to the third story. This one's different again. It features a high school senior who starts getting these really unnerving Snapchats from someone totally unknown, username, Hector. It began with just a random snap notification from someone he didn't know, which he notes was kind of unusual for him as a guy. He didn't open the first one, hesitated, but then a second one came through from this Hector. So he opened that second one, first picture, a really dark room you could barely make out a face, described as a bit darker skinned. Okay, weird. Then the next picture was taken outside, looking down a road with an arm in the frame, pointing down that road.
So right away it's anonymous, it's ambiguous, but it feels location-based, almost directional. It creates this immediate sense of unease, this mystery. It's not like the first story with a stolen phone. It's starting cold with an unknown contact.
Exactly. He typed, "Who is this?" into the chat. The message was read instantly, but no reply, nothing. So he decides to add Hector back, maybe see if there's a profile picture or something. And he notices the Snapchat score is incredibly low, like 5, basically a brand new or unused account. And also sees that this Hector person immediately watched all of the user's public stories. Then, maybe 5 minutes later, another snap from Hector. This time, it's a picture taken right in the middle of a street, and the user recognizes it instantly. It's a street just 2 blocks away from his house.
Okay, so this is where it shifts. It becomes actively malicious. Whoever this is, they're using the app's main function, sending pictures, but they're using it to show proximity, sending location-specific photos almost in real time to show they're getting closer. It's turning the app into a tool for psychological terror.
Yeah, the user was getting seriously freaked out now, but still had this little thought, like maybe it's a friend just messing with him really badly. He texted a couple of friends he thought might do something like this. They all denied it, though apparently they thought the situation sounded funny. He was not finding it funny anymore, especially when the fourth snap came in. A picture of his block, taken from the corner, right by the old lamppost he recognized. At this point, he's properly terrified. He calls a friend over, described as a big dude, just to have someone else there. They're just sitting there, tense, waiting, when another notification pops up. Hector again. The friend still thinks it's kind of funny, but the user is shaking. The friend tells him, okay, screenshot this one. He opens it. It's a picture of his own house, taken from his front yard.
Wow. The psychological pressure there is immense. Getting photos confirming someone is literally on your property, sent through an app you use for fun, that's a huge violation. And that low score, the lack of info, it means he has no idea who this is, or, crucially, how they even found him, how they knew his username and his address.
So they both screenshot it, then immediately run outside to the front yard. Nobody there, empty street. The user tells his friend to stay out front while he goes to check the backyard. As he's walking towards the back, another snap from Hector arrives, this time. A picture of the back door of his house, taken from the backyard. He yells for his friend to come around to the back. He throws open the back gate and sees someone running, darting towards the other side of the yard, heading for the fence. He and his friend give chase, run after him out into the street. But it's dark, the person ducks down a side street or alley, and they lose him. Hector got away.
And the horror doesn't even stop there, does it? It continues overnight. The user couldn't sleep just waiting for another notification, jumpy at every sound.
He was right to be worried. Woke up the next morning, checked his phone. 3 notifications from Hector, sent overnight. 3 more pictures, different windows of the house. And the third picture was of his bedroom window.
Those overnight photos might be the creepiest part. It confirms the person came back. Or maybe never left. They were there, watching, even after being chased off. It wasn't just a quick, impulsive thing. It felt like sustained, terrifying surveillance enabled by the anonymity the platform gave this person.
So what could he do? He blocked Hector immediately, reported the account to Snapchat support, hoping maybe they could track the IP, find out who it was, but he just got back a generic, copy-paste response, followed up again, but said their support was basically unhelpful, no resolution. And that just leaves this awful, lingering mystery. Based on the little glimpse he got, the skin tone description, the name Hector, the user doesn't think it was anyone from his school, anyone he knew. So he's just left wondering forever, how did this person know who I was? How did they get my username? How did they find my house?
And that really highlights a major vulnerability, doesn't it? How easily can someone determined enough piece together bits of online information? Or maybe just exploit the platform's features in ways they weren't intended? And then, what can the platform actually do about it, especially when a threat is happening in real time, crossing over into the physical world like that with an anonymous user? It raises tough questions.
So yeah, when you put these three stories side by side, the stolen phone used by an intruder, the figure hidden in a selfie, the anonymous stalker using photos to close in, they're all different, but they all show how this platform, meant for quick, fun, disappearing messages, how it became, for these people, a channel for genuine real-world fear and actual physical danger.
Yeah, the common elements are pretty stark. That invasion of privacy, of personal space, and the way personal information, whether it's contact details on a lost phone, a recognizable location in a background, or somehow linking a username to an address, how that info was used to escalate things, from just being online to suddenly having a threat right there, physically present. And these aren't just, random scary stories online. They make you think about our own digital lives, our digital footprints, what information is out there, how easy it might be to connect the dots, and maybe the limits of how much protection or recourse we have when things go wrong.
So, listening to these accounts, what stands out to you? Does hearing them make you think differently about your own posts, your own interactions online, the information you might be sharing, maybe without even thinking about the possible connections? Well, that brings us towards the end of our look into these really quite disturbing experiences that people shared. It's definitely given me a lot to think about.
It has. And it leaves us all with a pretty important question, really. Our digital lives and our physical lives are so tangled up now. How truly aware are we of where the vulnerabilities might be? And what steps can we even take to protect ourselves when that line between online and offline can be crossed so easily, sometimes so terrifyingly? Definitely something worth considering.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us as we explored these stories. If you found these accounts compelling, maybe a bit chilling, and you want to hear more stories like this, please do give us a like. Maybe share this with someone else who finds this kind of thing interesting. And definitely subscribe to the channel, Horror Docs, so you don't miss our future tellings. Until next time, stay safe out there.